Hey everyone, it's Geraldine Christie, and today I wanted to share some information with you that I feel we all struggle with from time to time, and that is cravings. Why do we crave what we crave? And there are many reasons why, so I felt it was an important topic to tackle during our time together this week. So here is the top 9 reasons. There's probably more, but I think these really trump all of those. These are like the top 9 reasons. And I think once you figure out why it is that you're craving what you're craving, I think that that really makes a difference to how you handle those cravings, and that you don't just fall captive to those and end up having those derail your progress. So let's get it right in there. So number 1 usually tends to be a lack of nutrients, and it can be a lack of vitamins, a deficiency somewhere that way, or it can be a macronutrient deficiency like fat, protein, or carbs. Usually it tends to be fat or protein. Most people don't have an issue getting carbohydrates in their body, but those usually will cause cravings. Another one that's really big that I think a lot of people don't consider is what we call a lack of primary food. Now, primary food is not the food we put into our mouth. That would be considered secondary food. Primary food are things that feed us that are not on our plate. So things like relationships, our career, our hobbies, physical activity, our spirituality, things like that are what feed us emotionally, right? They make us who we are. The food sustains us, but the primary food truly does make us who we are. So what I find with my clients is that people who are having issues with cravings, and I feel like it could be something of that nature, what I often look at is, if they're downing a pint of Ben & Jerry's, chances are it's not necessarily something in the ice cream that their body needs, like the sugar or the chemicals or stuff like that, but it could be that, they're not getting that attention from their significant other, or it could be that they're really struggling with their spirituality or with their career. And so you want to really look at that. That's a really big one. Number 3 is water. Dehydration is a big key to cravings, and a lot of times even just the feeling of what we think is hunger oftentimes is actually dehydration. So you really want to be tracking how much water you're drinking. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but tracking how much water you're drinking, because you don't want to be overeating because you're feeling the sensation or craving things when it's actually simply a lack of water, okay? Hormonal. We're all ladies in this group, and we all, I won't say struggle necessarily, but we all deal with hormonal changes throughout our cycle, throughout the month, and some months are worse than others. And so as our hormones shift and change, hormones control just about everything in the body. As they shift and change, you're going to find that at certain points of the month, you may crave things. It is not abnormal, or, there's nothing wrong with you if you crave chocolate during certain times of your cycle. That is normal. And it is okay to have a square or two of dark chocolate as long as it's 70% or higher. I do recommend organic chocolate, but as long as it's 70% cocoa or higher, then you're not having too much sugar with it. You're going to get the antioxidants and the vitamins and the things that are in chocolate that your body can actually use, and it can be good for you, and you can satisfy that sweet tooth craving that we often get during that time. Number 5 reason is what I call the inside coming out, and that has 2 parts to it. Number 1, when you find, say you get into a clean eating routine, and then say, and I'll be honest, one of my favorite junk foods is pizza. I really like pizza. So I do try to make it in a healthy way so that it's not a junk food for me, but actually a healthy food I can enjoy. But there are times when I just want to go to Papa Murphy's or Papa John's and get a pizza. What I find is after I've eaten that pizza, I will crave pizza for several days until I sort of get it out of my system. So you'll find that if you're in a bad habit of eating certain things, whether it's ice cream or drinking pop or whatever, it's actually just because it's in your system that your body is craving it, and for no other reason. So sometimes doing things like this clean eating group or other groups like that really does help that. The second part to it would be something like what you're used to eating in your childhood or your ancestry. For example, Asians who tend to, eat a lot of rice and have certain flavors, you might just crave those things as you get older simply because it's part of who you are. Food in turn makes up our cells, which make up our physical body, and so you will find that you'll crave foods that maybe you had as a child that might trigger certain memories that can lead more toward like the primary food, right? Or it can be simply food that you are eating that you're used to eating, you know, your ancestors and just that kind of thing, that you find you really do crave those things. So that can be called the inside coming out. Number 6 is lack of sleep. Sleep is vital. There are times when I've told my clients, if it means getting a workout at 10 o'clock at night and you need to get to bed by 10:30, I would recommend you not get your workout in and you get a good night's sleep. Does that mean it's a reason to not work out? No. But sleep is as vital to work to your health, weight loss, fitness, all that, as the actual working out is. Sleep is so key. All of our hormones reset while we sleep. So if we're not sleeping or getting a deep enough restorative sleep, those hormones don't reset, and what we end up doing is generally eating more and having those bad sugar cravings because our body is not back to homeostasis where we know, okay, I don't need that right now, I have enough of that, or I do need that right now, and so our body signals get off. So sleep is so important. Number 7 is seasonal. I do find that I crave warmer vegetables and things, root vegetables during the fall, like butternut squash, one of my favorites, pumpkin, you know, just warm, comforting foods. I will not eat salads in the winter. I hate them. Now, do I like salads in the summer? Yes, because they're refreshing and cooling. I don't like to be cold, and I feel like when I eat cold raw vegetables in the winter, I just don't like how I feel. I crave that warm. I love butternut squash soup and you know, things made with pumpkin, and I have a root vegetable medley that I absolutely love, and I do tend to make that a lot in the winter, not so much in the summer. So that would be sort of a seasonal example. Something called the yin-yang balance. I don't know if you've heard of that before. I'm sure you have. But basically, when you eat, for example, if you eat a food that's really high in yang, which would be something like meat. Meat is a high yang food. Whereas if you're eating a lot of meat, you're going to tend to crave the opposite, which would be sugar. All right, something as an example would be sugar, and sugar is a high yin food. So what it does is it balances itself out. So if you're eating a lot of sugar, you might feel like you're craving a lot of red meat, right? So that's just an example of that. I won't get into that one a whole lot. And then the last one I'm going to talk about today is called de-evolution. And what I mean by that is really another term for self-sabotage or wanting to fit in. You could be doing so well in your journey, and for no apparent reason, all of a sudden, say you're out with friends and you're really not craving anything or needing anything or wanting anything, you're doing just fine, doing well in your journey, but just because maybe it's been a while and you just give in, you just self-sabotage and you think, why did I do that? I was doing so well. What happens is you just, I think it's a subconscious sort of thing, you just want to fit in. You don't want to stand out. You don't want to be the one having the grilled veggies and the fish when everyone else is having the wings and french fries and onion rings and beer and whatever else. It's hard sometimes to stand out. Sometimes you just don't care. And I think if you're at a point where you are doing really well, you get to that point, but then for some reason you just find like, boom, you just go off on a limb and you make excuses, and then you just self-sabotage. And that would be considered de-evolution. So those are the top 9 reasons that I wanted to discuss with you today. And so just share below which ones you find that you, when you really think about the times that you crave certain foods, whether it's salty foods or sugary foods or, you know, pop or bread or whatever it is that your triggers are, what is it or when is it that you find you are having those cravings? What do you think it is that's causing your cravings? And I'd love to see that below. So in the meantime, guys, have a wonderful day.